Hi there, this is Datila with Rangers of Wrestling, bringing you the Jocelyn Time Post Show. And for tonight, I'm reviewing Monday Night Raw. Alright, so tonight's Monday Night Raw was a little interesting in the sense that it was not only 20 years of Cena, but it was also the Money in the Bank Go Home show. Alright, so today, 20 years ago on this day, John Cena debuted against Kurt Angle. And who would have thought that John Cena would be celebrated even 20 years later when he first debuted? You know, he's carried the WWE through the PG era, and like he went from being the prototype to Doctor of Thugonomics to Chain Gang Soldier to the leader of C Nation to Super Cena, which a lot of people hated, to Hollywood John Cena, and he's just been one of the most polarizing figures in WWE. And tonight was all about him. On Raw, Mr. McMahon made a surprise appearance, and he basically introduced John Cena, and he was talking. He gave a beautiful, heartfelt promo, basically talking about how he couldn't think of a better place to celebrate his birthday than in Laredo, Texas. He says that tonight had nothing to do with him. It was a moment. It was for the fans. He says that he's done this for over 2 decades and over the years has created an environment where people boo him, where people cheer him. He says that he wants to thank the crowd. He wants to thank the crowd for making him who he is and for WWE to prepare him for anything. He said that the fans made him a better husband. They made him react. His empathy and caring, kindness. They taught him humility. And he would give nothing less, and he's shared everything with us that he's got. And he says he doesn't know when we'll see him again in the ring. And he says anything he does outside the ring is not about him, it's about us. And it's never been about him, it's been about us. So very beautiful, heartfelt promo. And honestly, I know John Cena's gotten a lot of criticism over the years, but it's so funny how the people that booed John Cena, that hated John Cena, that wanted him to go away, now all of a sudden want him back. Just goes to show you never know what you have until you lose it. And honestly, I'll admit John Cena's act got a little stale over the years as time went on. And, WWE put him as the face of the company. They shoved him down our throats. And I think that's the reason why a lot of people not only turned on Cena, but also because he had his 5 moves of doom, the 5 knuckle shuffle, the STF, the AA. It's funny, I'm old enough to remember when the AA was the FU and the STF was the SCFU. Then WWE went PG and those moves got renamed. Some of my favorite, one of my favorite John Cena matches was John Cena versus JBL at Judgement Day, and an I Quit match for the WWE Championship. Another match that I like was obviously John Cena versus AJ Styles SummerSlam 2016, which I think to me proved that John Cena didn't just have those 5 moves of doom. And that rivalry with AJ Styles was freaking phenomenal. And who would have thought that AJ Styles would beat John Cena clean? Another one of my favorite moments of John Cena, wasn't by John Cena himself, but it was actually 6 years. It'll be 6 years on next Monday. The whole hashtag beat up John Cena that AJ Styles in the club did. It's just so many great moments. Of course, John Cena's iconic rivalries with CM Punk, of course. Who can forget Money in the Bank 2011? Randy Orton, longtime rival. Edge. He's just had so many moments and matches. I could sit here and talk a whole hour about John Cena and stuff. One of the things I really, really liked, let's see, Michael 101591 says, I can't believe it's been 20 years since John Cena debuted. I'm getting old. I remember watching 20 years ago his debut on SmackDown against Kurt Angle. I think a lot of us remember that, and one of the things I liked about tonight's episode was yesterday was the Forbidden Door, but tonight was more like the Forbidden Door. You had Chris Jericho, Bryan Danielson, or should I say Daniel Bryan for tonight, Paul White, or should I say Big Show for tonight, leave video messages to John Cena throughout all of Monday Night Raw. So that was interesting, definitely. I would have been great. I know it would have been a long shot, but it would have been great, super great to have CM Punk leave like a video message about John Cena. So according to Fightful Select, they were told that the situation was very straightforward and making it happen. The idea was pitched, and then AEW founder Tony Khan was contacted in order to see if he'd okay with it. Given the circumstances surrounding the videos, he said to be okay with the videos and provided approval. A WWE source told us that they were able to land virtually everybody they hoped for the congrats videos. So Tony Khan made this happen. Made those videos happen. 20 years ago tonight, I never would have thought Cena would have been the face of the company going forward. Yeah, me neither. And in all his career, his ascent to the top, I guess you can say, started at WrestleMania 21 when he defeated JBL to win his first ever WWE championship. And from there, it was like to the top. Like he never looked back. And I really like what he did with the United States title using the open challenge. I thought it was really like a good way for him to give opportunities to other people. I know he gave one time an opportunity to Zack Ryder, or should I say Matt Cardona now, but I just really like that tonight was about John Cena. And not to compare, but 20 years of Cena was a lot better than The Rock's 25th anniversary at Survivor Series. I mean, we didn't even get a video package from The Rock or a video message from The Rock. At least John Cena like showed up, and he did so many backstage segments with the wrestlers. Oh my god, like at the beginning when John Cena was like there, he was like hugging everybody and saying hi. R-Truth finally meeting his childhood hero in John Cena, which I thought was such a tender moment. Like, you know, and it's crazy to like think about, like 20 years ago you had Rey Mysterio, you had Batista, you had John Cena, and you had Brock Lesnar. And it's crazy to think that, like, if Brock Lesnar hadn't left, like, would have John Cena even became the face of the company? I honestly feel like John Cena became the face because Lesnar was no longer there. And it was like him and Batista both won their respective titles at WrestleMania 21. And yeah, it was straight to the top for both of them. And John Cena's been entertaining us for 20 years, whether it be in the movies or in the ring. He's certainly so entertaining us to this very day. And to have quote unquote grown up with John Cena from like B9 till now, and just seeing his career and where he's gone now, it's just like he's come a long way since he was just the 25-year-old prototype John Cena facing Kurt Angle in SmackDown. Like, look at him now. He's like a Hollywood movie star. So 20 years of John Cena, and I hope we get another 20. I cannot wait to see what he does next. Obviously, based on tonight's segment with Austin Theory, I feel like that's his next match. They're definitely going to set up with probably at SummerSlam with Austin Theory. I personally think that it's too soon for Austin Theory to face John Cena. I would have liked for them to build up Austin Theory, and then you can do Austin Theory versus Cena at WrestleMania. But you know, WWE likes to shotgun things, so wouldn't surprise me if we get Austin Theory versus John Cena at SummerSlam. But I think we're at that point where John Cena's gonna put people over. I mean, he put over Roman Reigns twice, and he's probably gonna put over Theory too. So after this year, who knows when we'll see John Cena again? But yeah, he's been great. He honestly was. Let me see. The Rock just doesn't care. They missed out on building C9 Theory tonight. They kind of did, but John Cena was the right guy to be the face of the company for as long as he was. He certainly was the right guy. Whether you liked him, whether you loved him, or whether you hated him, you gotta admit John Cena was the guy, and it was really good to see him tonight. And very, very good. Oh, and WWE did play a respective video package of John Cena detailing his entire career, from like his debut to his first title run and everything. And it was such a beautiful package. WWE, that's the one thing that WWE does best, video packages. They do them better than anybody. But with all that being said, you guys, let's start off this review. All right. So like I said, John Cena, Monday Night Raw opened with John Cena backstage, shaking hands and hugging his fellow superstars. R-Truth finally meeting John Cena, his childhood hero, John Cena. But after that, we got a Money in the Bank last chance qualifying battle royal. It was a men's side. So basically, the winner of this would be added to the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Now, there's a lot that happened. Probably my favorite spot in this match was when the double 619 to Veer, and then the Mysterios and Ali eliminated him. And then poor Dominic eliminated himself while trying to eliminate Dolph Ziggler. Predictable battle royal. Yeah, it definitely was, honestly, especially when you find out who won. Another spot that I liked in this match was when T-Bar threw Ricochet onto the ladder. I'm sure that wasn't intentional, but he threw himself, so Ricochet was saved from being eliminated. Of course, The Miz during this battle royal played possum. He faked an injury and he rolled out of the ring. And when it came down to Matt Riddle and AJ Styles, The Miz pulled AJ Styles from the ring apron, eliminating him. And then it came down to him and Matt Riddle. And again, Matt Riddle won this. So I'm not surprised. Predictable, to say the least. And then we had Montez Ford versus Jey Uso. The winners get to pick the stipulation, apparently, for their match at Money in the Bank. And like I said last week, they were going to exhaust every possible combination out of this. We had Montez Ford versus Jimmy Uso, Angelo Dawkins versus Jey Uso. And today we got Montez Ford versus Jey Uso. And if we had one more week for Money in the Bank, I guarantee we would have gotten Angelo Dawkins versus Jimmy Uso. But this was a good match, very good match. I actually really enjoyed the match. Probably the best spot in this match was when Montez Ford did the frog splash and he almost hit his head on the Money in the Bank briefcase because of the height. And Street Profits were victorious. I'm very curious to see what type of stipulation they pick. Also, too, like I said at the beginning, we got video packages. It was Bryan Danielson, or I should say Daniel Bryan, Big Show. Just congratulating John Cena on 20 years of being 20 years. Congratulations for him reaching 20 years. And then we had a backstage segment with Matt Riddle basically dedicating his victory to Randy Orton. And he said that John Cena gave him some good advice. Then we get a Judgment Day segment. Let me see. We'll get Jimmy versus Montez next week or Jay versus Dawkins. Yeah, probably. So then we get a Judgment Day segment where Finn Balor basically says Rey Mysterio is the reason that his son Dominic hasn't succeeded, and that Balor makes note saying that next month is Rey Mysterio's 20th anniversary, and he questions, does anybody even remember it's Rey Mysterio's 20th anniversary? And he says that everybody forgot about him. So we found out that next week we're going to have a tag team match player. It's going to be the Mysterios versus Finn Balor and Damian Priest. And now next week, they're going to be live in San Diego, which is Rey Mysterio's hometown. So I can tell you where this is probably going to go. The Mysterios are probably going to lose in their hometown because WWE will probably not let the hometown hero get a victory. I don't know why they like doing that. DOA meant day is what they are now. I get it. So then, again, we get a message from Chris Jericho congratulating John Cena on 20 years. That was probably the biggest shocker of the night, seeing Chris Jericho. My jaw would have dropped if we would have gotten a CM Punk message. Seriously, it would have. Then we get a John Cena video package, basically, again, highlighting his career. Very beautiful, well done. Like I said, this is the thing that WWE does best, video packages. And so it's very good. Then this leads into a Miz segment. And then that Miz segment leads into AJ Styles versus The Miz. A good match, but I hated the ending. AJ Styles winning by a countout because The Miz walked away from the match. I really hope that we don't see AJ Styles versus The Miz again. But based on what's happening, I would not be surprised if we get a match at Money in the Bank. Then we get a backstage segment with John Cena. One of many. Ezekiel meets John Cena and he says that he's Elias's younger brother. He's saying that Elias is probably giving their other brother a tour of Monday Night Raw. Speaking of which, the KO match with Elias got canceled. I don't know why it didn't give us a reason why, and I still don't know why. So John Cena was Ezekiel was like, "You want to get zeked up," which I thought was like so hilarious. But anywho, so this is where we get the first taste of Theory and Cena. Theory makes an appearance, and he basically cuts a promo saying that like Cena's out of touch, that he is the youngest United States champion. That why is he still wearing jorts? It's actually a really good promo by Austin Theory. I think he was able to hold his own. Granted, John Cena didn't say anything. He was just kind of standing there. So I'm very curious what's going to happen when John Cena actually goes head to head with Austin Theory on the mic. I mean, if you guys recall, John Cena buried Roman Reigns in 2017 on the mic, calling him a corporately created John Cena bootleg. And even last year, like I still feel like last year though, like Roman was able to hold his own against John Cena. But the question is, will Austin Theory be able to hold his own against Cena? Like I said, right here was a good promo because Cena didn't say anything. But what's going to happen when John Cena actually gets a mic and says stuff to Theory? I'm very curious to see if Theory can hold his own against John Cena. I highly doubt he can, but I think he will. I think he might be okay, but just don't think he's gonna be at that level where he can go toe to toe with John Cena on the mic yet. I'm so glad Owens versus Ezekiel didn't match, was canceled. I hope it never happens. Oh wow. Okay. But yes. So and then as Austin Theory was gonna take a selfie, John Cena walked away. Then you got Bianca Belaire and Carmella face to face. Now, they advertised this as face to face, yet Bianca Belaire said that Carmella needed to come out there and confront her face to face. And she says that she respects Carmella. She says that nobody respects Carmella because Mella doesn't respect herself. Then Carmella comes out and says that Bianca is wrong and she's got it all wrong. She says the WWE Universe doesn't respect her because of her looks. And she says that her resume speaks for herself. And then Carmella tries to cheap shot Bianca. She says, I'm Michael 101 right now and says, I'm surprised Edge didn't send a video message for Cena since he was one of Cena's best rivals. Yeah, Edge didn't send a video package. Alberto Del Rio also didn't send a video package. He had good matches with John Cena, and I really, oh my god, I really wanted to see an interaction with John Cena and AJ Styles again. The whole hashtag beat up John Cena is 6 years next Monday, and it would have been so great if we got an interaction of them between them, but they obviously didn't. They didn't do it. I don't know why. So let me see. Randy Orton did have a nice video message for Cena online. He talked about how it was an honor every time they got in the ring together and talked about their friendship. Yeah, Cena and Randy Orton had not only a great rivalry, but yeah, they came up at the same time too. Like he was part of 20 years. Remember in April they did 20 years of Orton. So yeah, they really went all out for John Cena. Then we had Liv Morgan versus Alexa Bliss, which was a decent match. Wasn't too bad. Liv Morgan ended up winning, defeating Alexa Bliss. So she's definitely got momentum going into Money in the Bank, but you know how it goes. They're there with their 50-50 booking. So after this was John Cena's celebration. Here it was, 20 years of John Cena. I talked about this at the beginning, but I'm happy to talk about it again. I am so happy about today's 20 years of John Cena. So basically, Mr. McMahon came out and introduced John Cena. All the superstars were at the ramp, and John Cena came out, cut a very heartfelt promo, basically talking about how he does everything for the fans, and he thanked the fans for teaching him empathy, kindness, humility. And he said everything he's ever done has been for the fans. Everything he does outside the ring is not about him, it's about us. And he says he doesn't know when we will see him again in the ring, but he did the whole "you can't see me" type of thing. I really like how they got some AEW WWE former guys to make a video message. Yeah, me too. Chris Jericho, Bryan Danielson, Paul White, or Big Show, I should say, cutting those. That was really the forbidden door, if you ask me. But overall, like, I really dug that. The whole celebration about John Cena was arguably my favorite part of Monday Night Raw. It really was. But it's a beautiful, heartfelt promo. I kind of thought that maybe Austin Theory would come out and interrupt John Cena, and I would have understood if they did, but I'm really glad that they did it, and they really let John Cena have his moment, not only to thank the fans, but just in general to thank everybody watching at home, and such a special moment. Then after that, we got the 2-on-1 handicap match. It was Alpha Academy versus Bobby Lashley, with Austin Theory being the enforcer, special enforcer. I thought he was a ref because he had that ref shirt, but he wasn't the ref. I really like that. My favorite spot in this match was Lashley powerbombing Otis, and then he put Chad Gable in a hurt lock, and he won by submission. And then afterwards, he speared Otis, and Austin Theory escaped before he could attack him. So Bobby Lashley winning here. You know what that means? He's going to lose at Money in the Bank because of 50-50 booking. Then we had a surprise Cody Rhodes, and I was not expecting Cody Rhodes at all to appear tonight on Raw. So that was quite the surprise. It really was. So Cody Rhodes basically talking about how rehab is rehab, and he said it pales in comparison to where he was a few weeks ago. I mean, mind you, he wrestled Seth freaking Rollins at Hell in a Cell with a torn pec. He said he was flying. Cody will be back quick. Yeah, I honestly think he's going to be back at the Royal Rumble. I don't think he's going to be out 9 months. He said he was flying high, wanted to be at Money in the Bank. He said he was basically talking about Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, how they have Harley race experience. And he says if Seth wins Money in the Bank, he will be the first to congratulate Seth. And I honestly think that's what's going to happen. I honestly think Seth Rollins is winning Money in the Bank. And they're going to get to Seth versus Cody 4 at WrestleMania. That's what I think. Then we got a backstage segment with Seth freaking Rollins and John Cena. Basically, Seth Rollins talking about how they're both have iconic fashions. They're both Money in the Bank winners. However, the difference between them is that Seth Rollins successfully cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase while John Cena didn't. Let me see. Lashley losing at Money in the Bank to Theory has to set up Cena versus Theory for the US title at some. That's what I'm thinking. Really, that's what I'm thinking. I think that's where they're going. Cena versus Theory for the US title at SummerSlam. But maybe Cena will be at MIT and challenge Theory. Yeah, probably he might be. But who can forget John Cena versus Seth Rollins? It's such an iconic rivalry. Do you guys remember like John Cena versus Seth Rollins winner take all his United States title, with Seth Rollins being WWE champion and freaking Jon Stewart getting involved in that match and just costing Cena the title, and with his reasoning being that he could not let John Cena catch up to Ric Flair, or surpass Ric Flair, I should say. So that was a good match, honestly. Like, you guys, like, John Cena was so not appreciative towards the end of his career, I should say. I feel like a lot of people turned on Cena, but it's understandable because he was being shoved down our throats, say basic moves, but and it's really warmed my heart to see everybody be cheering for John Cena and to say thank you, Cena. So really good. All right, so in the main event, it was the last chance Money in the Bank elimination match. This one was for the women. Good match. My favorite spot was when Doudrop pretty much slammed everybody. Like, she dropped everyone. Let me see. That was when Seth Rollins was at the top of WWE in white and gold gear. One of my most favorite attires in mine. That's true. All the people who hate John Cena will praise him when he goes into the Hall of Fame. Yeah, that is so true. They're all going to praise him when he goes into the Hall of Fame. So overall, I felt like it was a good main event. But of course, Becky Lynch wins after she manhandle slams Doudrop from the top rope, which was a pretty cool spot if you ask me. A really good spot overall. Tonight's show, I actually enjoyed tonight's Raw. It wasn't bad. I think what really saved tonight's Monday Night Raw was the John Cena celebration. If you take all the John Cena stuff out, you have to remember we're building towards Money in the Bank. So if you take this John Cena stuff out, yeah, I would have been bland. It would not have been a good go home show, but if you add the John Cena stuff, I honestly think it added to the show. I really, really enjoyed the 20 years of John Cena celebration. I enjoyed the fact that they went all out with the video packages. I'm really happy they got Chris Jericho, Bryan Danielson, Big Show to give these packages. It would have been interesting to see if we got CM Punk, but that didn't happen. And this was, I hate to compare it, but this was a lot better than The Rock's 25th anniversary at Survivor Series. I mean, Homeboy didn't even show up or even leave a video message. But let me see. Raw was still terrible with Cena 1 out of 10. In terms of building towards Money in the Bank, I'm still not excited for the pay-per-view per se. Nothing that happened tonight really got me excited for Money in the Bank. We have to remember that this was the go-home show. I felt like Becky Lynch winning was predictable. I felt like Riddle winning was predictable. So that kind of took away from it. But overall, factoring everything into consideration, I'd give tonight's Raw a 7 out of 10. It was not bad. I couldn't give it an 8 because, like I said, we are building to Money in the Bank, and I just was not excited for the pay-per-view. So, but I'm not also to just a reminder, I'm not going to Money in the Bank. I was gonna go. I'm not going anymore. So I'll be watching at home with the rest of y'all people. But with that being said, you guys, thank you guys all so much for watching and for your continuous support. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified whenever I go live or release a new video. And I'll see you guys on Wednesday after AEW Dynamite. Bye.